Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Testing Mini Bytes. I am your friend Amudan Shaktivel. In this video, we're going to see about how we can do the driver management. It is very important for us to manage our driver classes, in a common framework for automating the web and mobile. Because if you are working with only web, it's going to be a little easy. If you are working with only mobile, it's going to be easy. But here we have different components. We have web, and then in the web itself, we need to have the capability to run it on local as well as remote. And also in case of mobile, we need to handle Android as well as iOS, and then it also need to have the capability to run it on local devices or emulators or iOS simulators, and also we need to have the capability to run it on cloud. So there are a lot of components involved, a lot of moving parts involved. So it is very important for us to code this driver management properly. We will get started into how we can manage this in a better way, right? Before doing all that, what we need to do is we need to first push the code, whatever the code that we have done, to the GitHub repository, because many people have asked me, for the POM.xml that I used. So let's do that. First of all, what I do, I will basically go to the Git terminal and IntelliJ terminal and use Git init. I'll create a Git init repository, and I'll set the Git configurations as well, because I use two different Git accounts in my machine. So I'll want to make sure that I use the right one. So and also take user dot name, right? And it's gonna be, yeah, once this is done, you can basically open this and check it. Let's say I want to check this. I can basically open it in Git, or you can basically, it's going to be cat inside Git folder. I'm going to have a Git folder. I think it's going to be config inside that. Okay, there is no config inside it. Let's try to refresh. Okay, yeah, there is a config folder. Okay, anyway, we'll go open here, and we could see the email and the name is being recorded here. So this is the config that it will use. So let's first push the let's first add the files. So let's go to share project on GitHub. In the, let's do, this is a single framework to automate web, mobile, and API, right? And this is going to be sharing on my github.com Shaktivel. Yes, this is what I want. This is going to be a public repository, so I'll do the share. So it is asking me to do the commits. Maybe this is not a good way. So what I can do, I will basically go here, git commit, and I'll choose which files I want to do it. Let's open all the files. First of all, I want to only do the commit for the pom.xml. Again, guys, I like to keep the commits very short. So maybe first time I'll just do add a pom.xml file with all necessary dependencies, right? Commit. Once this is done, then I will pick the config folders, enum folders as well. But in the test folder, I just pick the resources, because in the test folder, we don't have anything at all. So if you notice, this is just a dummy test. So there is no reason why we want to commit it. So yeah, this is enough for us. So maybe added mapping for the config file to framework config, right? So this is the commit message that I want to give, and let's do the commit. Yeah, now I think we have almost committed whatever the stuff that we want, and yeah, so this is fine. So let's push the code now. Let's go git push, and it's asking main. Okay, let's see whether the origin is set correctly. So manage remotes, yeah, the origin is correct. Let's try to push it again, guys. You can use whatever you feel comfortable. Go to the git and let's reload it. Yeah, if you notice, the master framework is now here, right? So it was updated 3 minutes ago. So you guys can track all my work here. I don't know, I didn't get pushed at all. Okay, I have already committed them. Committed away. Okay, push. Yeah, now we could see all of them. So yeah, basically it didn't commit it before, it showed some warning. So let's do the push now. Oh yeah, it should be there now. Yeah, so guys, it's up to you how you want to push it. Yeah, I use IntelliJ, I use terminal between, I use them interchangeably. It's based on your comfort level, you can use them, right? Now we have made the commits. Let's go to the code and then we'll start coding, right? Yeah, so the first task is we have to run the test on local browsers, right? And also I don't want to write this code here, right? Because if I keep writing here, I have to repeat this for all the steps. So what I can do, I can either move it to a before method in the class itself, in the same class itself. But again, that will be again too much of work. I have to create the before method for everyone, for every class, every test class. So this is not again needed. I can move the before method to the base class. Let's do it now. So let's create a new class called as base, maybe just a base test. I don't want to name it as base test. Maybe this is a web, right? So web test case. So I can name it as web base, and I'll add to the kit. And this one might have at the rate before method. Okay, and I'm going to name it as public void setup. Okay, and I'm going to keep all this code here, right? So let's copy this, put it here, right? And let's remove the unused imports, and let's go here. And if you also notice, it has the capability to run only on Chrome. Maybe if you can add some if conditions and do it. But yeah, again, this is not the right place to keep all these things, right? Because if the code keeps extending, I cannot keep everything in the before method. So let's keep only the the calling happens here. Okay, we will move this entirely to a different class so that we can manage the things better. Okay, again, there is no other option apart from creating it on here. So you can basically do create a new class, that is com.tmb dot. Let's name this as a driver, and the class name, let's keep it as driver, right? And here, what I want to do, I want to create a method public static void init the driver. This is where the whole thing gonna happen. And yeah, I'll copy this code. Let's not keep the quit here. Quit will be inside public static void quit driver. Let's keep the quit here, right? And again, if you notice, if I have to run this on Chrome as well as Firefox, what I have to do, I have to get the config factory dot get config dot browser. I'm gonna write an if condition, okay, right? If this equals browser type dot Chrome, I want to run it this way, right? This is the code normally we want to write, right? And let's do it. Yeah, so this is how we do it. Else we set up Firefox driver, right? Setup, and again I can basically and again, sorry guys, sorry. Driver, and yeah, I can load the URL. Okay, so for now let's keep it like this. Let's align the code, and now yeah, this is a very simple method that does all this operation. But if you want to have to run the test on remote, again I need to write a lot of if conditions, so this doesn't look good. So what I'll do first, I'm creating something which can help me to run my test on local browsers. Okay, I don't want to write all these logics. So we need to create a class called as driver factory, which is going to manage all the stuff related to invoking the browsers for your local executions. All right, very simple. We're going to have a class which is going to do the logics. Okay guys, try to keep your class very compact. Don't do everything in the same class. It might not be really good, right? So let's create a new class. Let's keep it as local driver factory maybe. Okay, and I'll also make this as a final one. I don't want someone to extend this. Let's keep the constructor as well private, because the only method I'm going to have is static method. There is no reason for me to expose the constructor. And maybe get driver, maybe the method here, and I'll move all this logic here. Okay, all these logics are moved here. Now I don't need this at all. So I can just tell web driver, right? And actually I need to return web driver, right? I cannot keep it as a what? Yeah, return driver. Good. So this is how the method is, right? So I will evaluate whether this is a Chrome. If it is Chrome, I'll run it. If it is not a Chrome, I'll run it on Firefox. Here we have only two, but again, if you have a lot of other browsers you want to test, you might have it in a bigger if conditions, or you may go to switch as well, right? And here I'll not do anything apart from calling the local driver factory dot get driver, and this is going to give me a driver, right? So this is going to be as simple as that. Now we have moved all this logic to this place, right? So again, if conditions, returning driver looks fine, but if you are a fan of lambda expressions, functional programming, we can still optimize this in a much better way. So we have already covered about the local driver factory, but the problem is, again, there is a lot of logic here, right? So we don't want to write this logic. So what we can do, basically we can again move this logic to some other better place. So we create manager dot, let's say I'll keep it as Chrome manager. Okay, and yeah, and let's keep it as final, and I don't know, private constructor as well. So public static web driver, okay, get driver, right? And all I want to do is do the same stuff here, and at the end I want to return new Chrome driver, right? Let's not worry about the capabilities of the Chrome options for now, but yeah, you can manage them here itself, right? Let's also create some logic for the Firefox as well. So I'll create a Firefox manager, right? And let's try to also keep this a final. Again, you can also make this non-final. You can use singleton instead of using static methods. Again, the approaches might vary. I choose something, I use static methods because I have different reasons. If you haven't watched my code refactoring playlist, please do watch them, right? Because I'm not going to do any overloading here. This method going to behave the common for all the threads. So, it's completely all right for me to keep them as static. So I'm going to have something like this: web driver, get driver. And this is going to be driver manager dot Firefox driver dot setup, right? And return new Firefox driver, right? Good. Now let's go here, and instead of doing this, okay, all we need to do is Chrome manager get driver, right? Now the logic is moved to some other place, right? So it'll be easy for us to manage. So Chrome manager, right? This is Firefox manager, right? Firefox manager. Get right? So as cool as that. Again, if you have a single line, if conditions, you can write it more neat like this, right? So yeah, you can basically write like this, right? This is much more readable than this. Maybe you can extract this into a method that compares whether this is a Chrome or not. Let's do that. So what I can do is basically extract a method out of it. Is browser grow, right? And now the code looks much neat than before. You can leave this like this if you don't know about lambda expressions, but yeah, we can still have ways to optimize this code as well, right? So you can also optimize this even better, right? We will do that once we cover all other stuff, right? With the help of lambdas. I don't want people to stop watching this because you don't know lambda expressions. Please do watch my Java 8 playlist where I have covered everything in detail, because we're going to write a lot of functional programming in this framework. So you cannot escape from functional programming for a very long time. uh, Take this as an opportunity to learn about it, right? But yeah, but for time being, we will keep it like this. The same way, we could also create factories for we have done it for local driver. Let's do it for a remote driver as well. So let's create a new class. Let's going to do remote driver factory, right? But the problem with the remote driver factory is you might have to run it on Selenium Grid, Selenoid, Browser Stack, Source Lab. There can be multiple requirements you want to cater. So it should be, we cannot directly use for here. For example, the local driver factory, there is no combinations. If you want to run it in local, there is only one level, one hierarchy down. You choose a browser between among the available browsers. But in case of this, first we need to choose the different service providers where you want to run it, and then after that you need to choose the browser. So we have two different hierarchies. So let's scatter them as well. So let's create a method, or let's do the private constructor. Guys, again, I use a lot of live templates. So if I type pcon, it's mean private constructor. So it's all live templates configured by me. You can also do that in your IntelliJ as well. So don't worry if you see something I code little weird, but something is working around. I use live templates from IntelliJ. Good. So public static, again, white. Let's say at the end of the day, this also has to return WebDriver, right? So get driver. We'll come to interfaces, how we can set up interfaces, how we can set up the skeletons and all that. But for now, we are trying to cover the different factories that we want to do. So for that, if let's create a new run mode. Let's say run mode is going to be two. It's going to be either you want to run it in local or remote. First, let's say run mode for browser. If you are doing web testing, where you want to run it, local or remote. If someone is mentioned local here, it will okay. But if they are mentioning remote, there are a lot of chances that they want to run it in Selenium Grid or Selenoid or Browser Stack. There can be a lot of things. So let's say run mode for run type or run type remote. Okay, maybe it's more readable to remote mode. Okay, browser remote mode would be more good, right? So again, guys, I do a lot of iterations like this. Yeah, this is how I code. And I can just mention it as Selenoid for now. Okay, if someone is mentioning Selenoid, I have to run that test on Selenoid Chrome, right? So I want to do that. So let's create enums for all of these. Let's go and create an enum. The first enum is going to be run mode browser run mode, right? Run mode browser type. And this is going to have only two options, local, remote. Okay, and I also have to add let's go to the configure properties and check browser remote mode. Okay, browser remote mode type, and we have multiple options here. I'm not going to cover all of them, but yeah, we will have Selenium Grid, we will have Selenoid, and we'll have, let's say, a browser stack. Okay, something like this. Okay. Good. And we'll also mention that in the configuration. So you have either to choose from local or remote. And what else we could do? We could selenium, selenoid, and also we have browser underscore stack. Okay, so that they will choose from this particular list, right? And let's go to the config and create a mapping for all of this. Let's say whatever we want is should be run mode browser type of run mode browser. Run mode for browser. Okay, something like this. And this last one should be remote mode. Remote mode. Browser remote mode type. Browser remote mode. Okay, whatever. Let's keep it unique. Browser run mode. Let's rename this to browser run mode. Okay, and this is browser remote mode. Okay, something like this. And we have to exactly match the stuff there. So let's say this is run mode browser. We will copy it. We will come to the I have. Okay, and let's @ key. Okay, key, and the key should be this. @ key, and the key should be something like this. What exactly map it, right? Good. So this is done, and we also need to have a converter classes to convert all of them, right? So let's go here, copy it, paste it here, and first thing we want to do conversion is string to so we will create a string to run mode browser type converter class, and let's add this. And I don't want to convert to browser type, run mode browser type, and run mode browser type. Okay, whatever that's coming. Okay, maybe we'll not do all these things. We'll whatever that comes, we'll just say run mode browser type dot value of process run mode. Okay, and we can tell run mode dot to uppercase, right? Good. And let's also create one more copy of it, and let's name this as uh, remote mode, right? Remote mode. What is the remote mode? Yes, and mode is going to be browser remote mode type. Okay, and we can just tell remote mode dot to uppercase, right? So that's all about it. We have created the converter classes. Converter classes are ready. Config factory is ready. Framework config is also done. So let's go to the remote driver factory. And there are a lot of chances, like, we have to do config factory dot get config. If the browser remote mode is basically equal to much, yeah, if it is selenium we want to do something, right? So if it is selenium we want to do something. If it is not selenium, okay, we'll have to write else if. Okay, or maybe we will, and we'll create a new skip like this. So that is whether this is equal to browser remote mode dot selenoid. We want to do something else. Okay, we want to do something else, right? So this is what we want to do, and at the end of the day we want to return. For now I'll keep it as null. Yeah, once we provide the implementations, we can do the remaining stuff, right? So maybe I'll do the commit for now. Let's say in test files. Okay, maybe I'll add this test file. That's fine. Driver classes, everything looks fine. Maybe I don't want to commit the remote driver class factory now because this is incomplete. So other things, local driver factory is added. Maybe I have to remove certain converters from here, right? Yeah. So driver factory is added. So there are some two issues. Let's review those issues. One is add a nested command. Why this block is empty? Yes, I know this won't be empty later, but for now we will create something to satisfy this. But yeah, we will also create a private constructor. That's fine, and let's keep it final. Let's do Ctrl Shift and O. Let's do the commit now. Let's commit anyway. Yeah, this is fine. So we will speak about how we can write the code for remote driver factory in our next video. Until then, I see you from Amudan. Tata guys, bye.